Modern life often feels like a constant stream of demands and notifications. You might notice your heart beating faster over a work message, or find yourself awake at night thinking about a tough conversation. This sense of being pulled in many directions is not a new experience. The ancient Stoics navigated their own challenges, and their insights provide a steady foundation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." How do you usually respond when things feel intense? This video will walk you through essential Stoic ideas that help reshape how you relate to pressure. You will learn to view obstacles not as emergencies, but as moments you can approach with deep calm and clear thinking. What if the very situation that feels heavy could become a place where you discover your own resilience? The single most powerful idea for reducing anxiety is understanding what you can and cannot control. This cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, known as the Dichotomy of Control, draws a clear line between what is ours to command and what is not. Our own judgments, our intentions, and our actions are firmly within our power. Everything else, from the actions of others to the final outcome of our efforts, ultimately lies beyond it. The philosopher Epictetus opens his manual for life with this very lesson. He writes, "Some things are within our power while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, our reputation, our office, and, in a word, whatever is not of our own doing." This is not about giving up, but about focusing your energy with precision. The stressor itself is rarely the true problem. It is our reaction, our internal judgment of that event, that determines its weight. Think about a common moment of tension at work, receiving feedback on a project. Your heart might sink, your mind might race with thoughts. The dichotomy of control asks you to pause and sort the elements. What is outside your control, the feedback itself, the tone it was delivered in, the person's specific opinion? What is within your control, your willingness to listen, your choice to analyze the comments for useful truth, your decision to use that information to improve your next effort, and your attitude moving forward? By shifting your focus entirely to your own sphere of action, you drain the situation of its emotional intensity and reclaim your agency. Take a moment and bring to mind one current source of stress in your own life. Now mentally separate it into two lists. What parts of this situation are truly within your power to change, and what parts are you attempting to control that simply are not yours to command? This simple act of sorting is the first step toward a profound inner shift. It is the process of untangling yourself from the struggle against the unchangeable, freeing your energy for what you can actually influence. Nothing is inherently good or bad until your mind labels it so. This is the powerful second step in the Stoic Lens, moving from what you control to how you perceive. Once you understand the distinction between what is yours to command and what is not, you encounter the very mechanism that creates your reality, your faculty of judgment. The Stoics taught that an external event is, in itself, neutral. It is our interpretation, the story we tell ourselves about what that event means, that gives it the power to disturb our peace. Marcus Aurelius offered a precise instruction for this, writing, "Take away your judgment, and then you have taken away the thought, 'I am hurt.' Take away the judgment, and the hurt itself is gone." The event remains, but its emotional charge vanishes. This is not about suppressing feelings, but about recognizing that your initial, automatic judgment is just one possible interpretation, and often not the most useful one. Consider the common stress of a delayed flight. The event is the same for everyone at the gate, the announcement of a new departure time. One person immediately judges this as a catastrophe, a ruinous disruption to their plans. Their body tenses, their mind fills with frustration, and their next 2 hours are spent in a state of agitation. Another person hears the same announcement and, after a pause, judges it differently. They see it as unexpected free time, a chance to read a book they have been carrying or to simply sit and observe the world around them. The external circumstance is identical, but the internal experience is worlds apart, all because of the judgment each individual attached to it. The power lies in that small space between the event and your reaction, the space where you can choose your judgment. Think of a recent minor annoyance in your own day, perhaps a spilled coffee or a last-minute change to a meeting. What was your immediate, automatic judgment? Did you label it as a frustrating setback? Now, try to gently remove that label. Restate the event in purely neutral, factual terms. The coffee cup tipped over. The meeting time was moved. Then, consider if there is another, more constructive judgment you could consciously choose. Perhaps the spilled coffee was a reminder to slow down for a moment. The rescheduled meeting is an opportunity to prepare more thoroughly. This simple act of reframing is a practical exercise in reclaiming your inner authority from the chaos of circumstance. Amor Fati is the Latin phrase for a love of one's fate. This ancient Stoic principle invites you to go beyond mere acceptance of events and move toward a genuine embrace of all that life brings, especially the obstacles. It is the decision to see every setback, every unexpected turn, not as a disruption of your path, but as an essential part of it. The philosopher Epictetus, who understood profound hardship firsthand, framed it as a duty. He instructed his students not merely to endure, but to feel gratitude for every experience. Welcome everything that comes, he said, the challenging and the gentle alike, for each is a thread in the cloth of your growth. This is not a passive resignation. It is an active, almost defiant choice to find value in the very things you would normally resist. Friedrich Nietzsche, centuries later, captured this same spirit with his declaration that one must want nothing to be different, not in the future, not in the past, not for all eternity. This philosophy turns the entire concept of a problem on its head. Every difficulty becomes raw material for building resilience, every disappointment a lesson in discernment, every limitation a chance for creative solutions. Consider the story of the philosopher Musonius Rufus, who was sent into exile. He could have viewed this as a crushing end to his life's work in Rome. Instead, he chose to love his fate. He saw his banishment not as a punishment but as an opportunity. In a remote and simple place, he established a new school, teaching philosophy to all who would listen and proving that his purpose was not tied to a single city. His influence, in many ways, grew stronger because of his exile, not in spite of it. You can find modern echoes of this in a career shift that forces a reevaluation of goals, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling path that was previously unseen. The cancelled project opens up time for a more innovative idea. The personal transition creates the space for deeper self-understanding. The practice of Amor Fati asks you to actively look for these hidden threads of benefit. So, bring to mind one specific difficulty you are facing right now. It might be a source of frustration or worry. Now, challenge yourself to list 3 potential ways this very situation could ultimately serve you. Perhaps it is teaching you patience or strengthening your resolve. Maybe it is redirecting your energy towards something more aligned with your true values, or simply showing you a part of your own character you had not seen before. This is how you begin to weave the threads of fate into a tapestry of your own design. Take a single deep breath and imagine your entire life laid out below you, seen from a height so vast the entire planet is just a sphere in the darkness. This is the essence of the Stoic exercise known as the view from above, a powerful mental shift that shrinks our anxieties down to their true size. When a problem feels all-consuming, this practice invites you to consciously pull back your perspective. See your current worry not from within the storm of your own emotions, but from the quiet distance of the cosmos. From this vantage point, the urgent meeting, the difficult conversation, the minor setback, all begin to look like tiny, fleeting events in the immense sweep of time and space. Marcus Aurelius regularly practiced this to maintain his own equilibrium. He would write reminders to himself, observing how all the bustling drama of human life is but a fleeting moment in the life of the universe. He noted that the vastness of time already behind us and the expanse yet to come make our present concerns seem remarkably small. This is not meant to diminish your experience, but to place it in a context that fosters profound calm. The goal is to trade a feeling of being trapped for a feeling of proportion. Think of a recent social situation that caused you stress, perhaps a moment of embarrassment or a disagreement. Right now, it might feel raw and significant. Now, project your mind forward. How much will this moment matter to you 1 week from now? Will you even remember the specific details in 1 year? How about in 10 years when you look back on this chapter of your life? Chances are it will have faded into insignificance, a mere footnote in your ongoing story. The view from above applies this same principle of time to the scale of space. Your challenge is happening on a tiny world in a remote corner of a galaxy that is one of billions. This perspective is not cold or dismissive. It is liberating. It allows you to acknowledge a difficulty without letting that difficulty define your entire reality. The next time you feel a wave of overwhelm, pause for just 10 seconds. Close your eyes if you can. In your mind's eye, pull your viewpoint up and out. See your room, your street, your city, until it all blends into the blue and white marble of the earth hanging in the silent black. From there, look back at your worry. Notice how its intense gravity seems to loosen, how much more space you suddenly have to breathe and to choose your response. Stoics strengthen their minds by calmly anticipating challenges. This practice, known as Premeditatio Malorum or the premeditation of difficulties, is a profound exercise in emotional preparation. It is the deliberate act of envisioning potential setbacks not to feed worry but to disarm it. The goal is never to dwell on fear or imagine worst-case scenarios with distress. Instead, it is a thoughtful rehearsal, a way to accept that life may bring hurdles and to plan your response of character in advance. You are preparing your inner foundation so that when or if a challenge arrives, you are not taken by surprise. You have already walked this path in your mind and chosen your course. Seneca, who wrote extensively on this, advised regularly reflecting on the possibility of change. He suggested we remind ourselves that our resources might shift, our social connections could evolve, or our well-being may face tests. He was not inviting discouragement, but rather seeking to soften these events of their sudden, overwhelming force. By facing them in the safe space of our thoughts, we realize we can move through them. We see that our core self, our capacity for virtue and reason, remains steady. This mental preparation transforms potential hardships into manageable circumstances. Think of a difficult conversation you need to have at work, perhaps about a project delay or a difference of perspective with a colleague. The anxiety often comes from the unknown, from wondering how you will react or how the other person will respond. Now apply this gentle premeditation. Sit quietly and visualize the conversation unfolding. Do not imagine a perfect, easy outcome. Instead, calmly envision the other person becoming somewhat frustrated. See yourself listening without immediate defensiveness. picture yourself pausing, then responding with clarity and respect, focusing on the issue rather than the emotion. You are not rehearsing a script but rehearsing your composure. You are building a mental muscle memory for staying grounded. Now, bring to mind one future event that causes you a flicker of concern. It could be a presentation, a travel day, or a personal commitment. Close your eyes for just a moment and walk through a gentle preparation. What is a realistic challenge that could arise? How would you ideally want to meet that challenge with your values intact? Simply by picturing it and your calm response, you have already begun to lessen its power over you. There is a critical space between what happens and how you respond. Creating a deliberate pause in that space is the essence of cognitive distancing, a technique that allows you to step back from your initial, raw impressions. It is the mental equivalent of taking a single deep breath before you speak, giving you a moment to separate yourself from the heat of the moment and examine your thoughts with the calm objectivity you might offer a close friend. The Stoic teacher Epictetus gave precise instructions for this very practice. He advised his students not to be carried away by the vividness of a first impression, but to instead say to it, "Wait. Let me see who you are and what you represent. Let me put you to the test." This is not about denying your feelings, but about choosing not to let them dictate your actions without your conscious consent. You are inserting a layer of reason between the trigger and your reaction. Consider the modern scenario of receiving an upsetting email. The initial impression is powerful and immediate. Your heart rate might jump, your face might flush, and a defensive, equally sharp reply might already be forming in your mind. This is the moment to apply cognitive distancing. Instead of hitting reply, you physically push your chair back from the screen. You name the impression for what it is. "I am feeling challenged and unsettled by this message." Then you begin the work of examination, as if you were advising a friend in the same situation. You look at the email's content with a little more space. What are the actual facts being stated, separate from the strong tone? Is there a useful point within the frustration that needs attention? What is the most constructive outcome you want from this exchange? By creating this pause, you shift from being a reactor to being an observer and a chooser. The next time you feel that surge of frustration or irritation, whether in traffic or in a conversation, practice inserting that small, powerful pause. Before the words leave your mouth or the action is taken, stop, just for a 3 count. In that quiet space, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about this event? Is this the only possible interpretation? This simple act of distancing does not change the external event, but it completely transforms your relationship to it, granting you the clarity to respond from a place of purpose rather than impulse. Fighting against what is already true is the source of much unnecessary struggle. We exhaust ourselves in a battle with circumstances that have already occurred, a struggle that can never be won because the past is fixed. The Stoic art of gentle acceptance is the remedy for this self-made conflict. It is the conscious decision to stop arguing with reality and to instead align your will with the present moment, exactly as it is. This is not a passive resignation, a sinking into despair or helplessness. It is an active and deeply meaningful form of understanding, a choice to stop wasting energy on what cannot be changed and to redirect that energy toward your response. You are not surrendering your power, you are exercising it by choosing where to place your focus. Marcus Aurelius constantly practiced this alignment with reality. He wrote in his private journal, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. Another person might see an obstacle and be stopped by it." The Stoic sees the same obstacle and uses it as fuel. He also reflected on accepting his own assigned role in the grand scheme. understanding that resisting his duties or the events of his life was a form of rebellion against the nature of the universe itself, a draining and futile endeavor. His practice was to welcome each moment as a necessary part of the whole. Think of a skilled sailor on a long voyage. They do not waste their strength shouting at the wind for changing or fighting against the ocean's current. They cannot control these forces. Instead, they accept the conditions of the sea as they are in this very moment. They observe the wind's direction and adjust their sails. They note the current's pull and steer accordingly. By willingly accepting the reality of the sea, they are empowered to navigate it effectively. Their acceptance is the foundation of their skilled action. The sailor who fights the ocean quickly grows tired and goes nowhere. The sailor who accepts it finds a way forward. Now, bring to mind one specific aspect of your own current reality that you have been mentally resisting. It might be a personal limitation, a difficult relationship dynamic, or a professional situation that has not unfolded as you had hoped. Notice the internal tension, the subtle or not so subtle feeling of arguing with what is. For just a single moment, consciously decide to lower your resistance. Do not judge the situation as good or bad. Simply acknowledge its existence as you would acknowledge the weather. This small act of pure acceptance is not an endorsement of the circumstance, but a reclamation of your inner freedom. It is the first step in turning the obstacle into fuel and the headwind into a force that can help you find a new direction. For a Stoic, the only thing that can truly affect your inner self is a failure of your own character. This single idea reframes the entire landscape of a challenging life. Everything you typically worry about, from financial security to social standing, is reclassified not as a good to be possessed, but as a preferred indifferent, something you may enjoy but which holds no power over your essential worth. Your virtue, your integrity, your courage, and your justice, these are the sole goods. They are the only possessions that can never be taken from you without your own consent. The philosopher Epictetus, who began his life in servitude, placed this distinction at the very heart of his teaching. He constantly reminded his students to focus only on what is up to us, our moral purpose. He argued that if you place your good in your own character, then no outside force can ever defeat you. You might lose your employment, but you cannot lose your capacity for honorable action. Someone might speak poorly of you, but they cannot touch your integrity unless you allow them to. This perspective systematically disarms the stressors tied to external outcomes. They become like the weather, events that happen around you, but which cannot corrupt your inner self unless you open the gates. Consider the profound stress of losing a job. The immediate interpretation is one of difficulty, a challenge to your sense of security. But through the Stoic lens, the event itself is neutral. The loss of the position and the income are externals, preferred indifferents that have been removed. The true test and the only thing that matters is how you conduct yourself in response. This is where your virtue becomes your sole good. Do you respond with frustration and blame, or with dignity and resolve? Do you speak poorly of former colleagues, or do you express gratitude for the opportunity and focus on the next step with courage? The external outcome, the job loss, does not define your success or failure. Your internal response, your character in action, is the only measure that holds any real weight. This redefinition of success turns every potential setback into a training ground for your principles. If your character is your only true possession, how does that change what you see as a challenge? The critical feedback, the unexpected bill, the social slight, all these things lose their sharp edge. They cannot harm what is truly you. They can only provide the friction against which your character is polished and strengthened. The next time you feel that familiar rise of anxiety, ask yourself this simple question. Is this situation threatening my character, or is it merely challenging my preference for comfort? the answer will immediately show you where your power truly lies. Our own desires can be the most potent source of our suffering when they stretch beyond our reach. The Stoics identified this undisciplined wanting as a root of turmoil and developed a powerful antidote, the discipline of desire. This practice is not about suppressing your ambitions, but about refining them, training yourself to want only what is truly good for your character and what lies firmly within your own power to achieve. When your deepest wishes are tied to external outcomes or the approval of others, you hand over the keys to your inner peace. You build your happiness on a foundation that can be swept away by circumstance. Seneca captured this with piercing clarity in his letters, observing how we are troubled not by events themselves, but by our inflamed desires for things we may never obtain. He wrote that a person is as unhappy as they have convinced themselves they are, and much of that self-made conviction comes from craving what is not ours to command. The discipline asks you to turn this around, to align your wants with your actions, not with unpredictable results. Consider the common desire for a promotion at work. The undisciplined approach fixates entirely on the outcome, the new title, the increased recognition, the higher salary. All of these lie in the hands of other people and organizational processes beyond your direct control. When you tie your sense of worth and satisfaction to receiving this promotion, you set yourself up for potential disappointment, for anxiety during the waiting period, and for frustration if the decision does not go your way. The disciplined Stoic approach reframes the desire itself. Instead of wanting the promotion, you cultivate a desire to perform your work with excellence, integrity, and focused skill. You want to be the kind of person who contributes meaningfully, who collaborates generously, and who acts with professional virtue. These are all things entirely within your power. The potential promotion becomes a preferred indifferent, something that may follow from your excellent work, but which is no longer the source of your fulfillment. Your satisfaction is drawn from the quality of your effort itself, a well you can always return to. This shift transforms the entire experience from one of grasping to one of grounded purpose. Take a quiet moment to examine one strong desire you are holding in your own life. It might be for a particular relationship to mend, for a creative project to be celebrated, or for a personal goal to be reached. Now, gently ask yourself this clarifying question: is my desire firmly anchored in what I can control, or is it dependent on an external result or another person's choice? If it is the latter, can you reframe that wanting? Can you transform the desire for a specific outcome into a desire to act with courage, kindness, or perseverance throughout the process itself? This is the heart of the discipline, a realignment that turns every endeavor into a success, because the only goal is the integrity of your own effort. The right action carries its own reward within the act itself. This is the heart of the Stoic discipline of action, a practice that asks you to focus entirely on the virtue of what you are doing, setting aside any attachment to the outcome. Where the discipline of desire refines what you want, the discipline of action refines what you do. It is the commitment to act for the common good and in accordance with your nature as a rational, social being, not because you will be praised or rewarded, but simply because it is the right thing to do. This focus liberates you from the anxiety of potential failure or criticism, because your success is no longer measured by the result, which you cannot fully control, but by the integrity of your effort, which you can. Marcus Aurelius provided a timeless model for this in his own life. As the Emperor of Rome, he held immense power, yet his private writings reveal a man constantly reminding himself that his duty was not to achieve glorious conquests or universal approval. His duty was to perform his work with justice, kindness, and reason. He wrote that one can commit injustice by doing nothing. He understood that inaction, when action is called for, is itself a moral failure. The value was in the doing, in the daily choice to serve the common good, regardless of whether his efforts were met with gratitude or scorn. Think of a simple, everyday scenario, like holding a door open for a stranger weighed down with packages. The undisciplined action might be performed with an expectation, a subtle hope for a smile or a word of thanks. If that acknowledgement does not come, a flicker of frustration may arise. The disciplined action, however, is performed for its own sake. You see a person who could use assistance and you act. The act is complete the moment the door is held. Whether the person nods, says nothing, or even rushes past, your purpose has been fulfilled. The virtue was in the intention and the motion, a small contribution to the social fabric that required no external validation to be worthwhile. This principle scales to every area of life. At work, it means contributing to a project with full focus and collaboration because it is the right way to work, not because you are hoping for a specific bonus or recognition. In your relationships, it means offering support or speaking with honesty because it aligns with your care for the other person, not because you expect a particular response in return. The action itself becomes the point. Today, challenge yourself to perform one small, virtuous action with zero attachment to how it is received. It could be sending a message of genuine appreciation to a colleague, picking up a piece of litter in a public space, or simply listening to someone with your full attention. Do it quietly and then let it go. Notice the unique sense of freedom that comes from an action that is its own complete and sufficient reward. Memento Mori, a Latin phrase meaning remember you must die, sounds stark at first. Yet for the Stoics, this was not a dark obsession, but a luminous tool for sharpening focus. It is the practice of holding the finite nature of life gently in your awareness to dissolve the power of trivial worries and illuminate what holds real meaning. This contemplation systematically strips away the noise, leaving only the essential questions of how you wish to live. Seneca framed this not as a loss, but as a gain in clarity. He wrote that life is long if you know how to use it, suggesting that a life filled with purpose and awareness is infinitely richer than a long one spent in distraction. The point is not to live in fear of an ending, but to be fully awake for your brief, precious time. Imagine you are preparing for a potentially stressful event, like a major presentation or a difficult family gathering. Your mind might be tangled in anxieties about how you will be perceived, every possible thing that could go wrong. Now, apply the lens of Memento Mori. Take a quiet moment before the event and reflect on the simple truth that your time is limited. From that vantage point, ask yourself a clarifying question. What about this situation truly matters in the grand tapestry of a life well lived? Is it the perfection of your performance, or is it the integrity and kindness you bring to the interaction? Is it avoiding all criticism, or is it speaking your truth with courage and respect? The fear of minor embarrassment or social discomfort simply cannot survive this perspective. It melts away, leaving only the core of why you are there. This practice cultivates a profound gratitude for the ordinary moments you might otherwise rush through. The warmth of your morning drink, the sound of a loved one's laughter, the simple fact that you are here to experience another day, these become vivid and precious when seen against the backdrop of life's natural limit. They are not guaranteed, and that is what makes them beautiful. So bring to mind one current stressor that feels heavy and all-consuming in your life right now. Now gently pose the ultimate question to it. If this were the last year of my life, would this problem still command so much of my energy and attention? The answer often arrives with a quiet and certain clarity, shrinking the worry down to its true size and returning your attention to what you truly value. There is a secret ingredient to striving without attachment, a quiet mental phrase that can transform your relationship with any goal. The Stoics called this the reserve clause, a simple yet profound practice of adding the words fate permitting to every one of your endeavors. This is the art of holding two truths at once, giving your absolute best effort while simultaneously holding the final outcome with an open hand. It is the ultimate acceptance that your will is but one force in a vast and interconnected world. The teacher Epictetus gave clear instructions for this very practice. He advised that when you are about to undertake any action, you should remind yourself of what sort of action it is. He wrote about preparing for a visit to the bathhouse, picturing the splashing and the jostling and the people who might be there. And you will undertake the action more securely if you say from the outset, I want to bathe, and I also want to keep my will in harmony with nature. In every case, then, have this reservation ready if nothing prevents me. This is not a lack of commitment, it is a deeper kind of wisdom. You are committing fully to your own part, your intention and your action, while releasing your grip on the countless other factors that must align for the exact result you envision. Consider an athlete training for a major competition. They commit to a rigorous daily regimen, pushing their body and mind to the absolute limit. Their effort is 100%. This is the first half of the equation. The second half is the reserve clause they carry in their heart, the unspoken understanding that fate permitting, they will compete. If an unexpected change occurs or a global event alters the schedule, they are not shattered. They trained with virtue, they grew in discipline and resilience, and that journey retains its full value, completely independent of the competition that never was. The goal was not the medal, but the person they became in its pursuit. The outcome is preferred, but their peace does not depend on it. Now, bring to mind one significant goal you are actively pursuing in your own life. It could be a professional milestone, a creative project, or a personal health objective. For a moment, hold that goal in your thoughts and feel the weight of your desire for it. Now, gently add the reserve clause, I will work toward this with all my energy, fate permitting. Notice the subtle internal shift that occurs. The tightness of attachment may loosen, making space for a calmer, more resilient form of determination. Your effort remains, but the fear of not succeeding begins to lose its power over you. You are not an isolated drop, but part of a vast ocean. This is the heart of the Stoic idea of sympatheia, the understanding that the entire cosmos is a single, interconnected living being. Within this view, your life is not a lonely, separate event, but an integral thread woven into the fabric of a rational, unfolding whole. When you feel the weight of a personal struggle, this perspective offers a profound shift, reminding you that your challenge is not a unique punishment, but a single note in the universal symphony. Marcus Aurelius returned to this truth again and again to steady his mind. He wrote that what brings you joy is good for the whole, and what brings you difficulty is a challenge for the whole, suggesting a shared existence where nothing truly happens in isolation. He saw the universe as a kind of city, a shared community of all rational beings. To feel alone, then, is to forget your citizenship in this greater world. Your struggles are not yours alone to carry. They are part of the larger story of existence, and this recognition can ease the sense of isolation in any hardship. Think of a single cell in your own body. It has its own brief life, its own specific function, and it may face its own internal pressures. Yet its health and purpose are inextricably linked to the well-being of the entire organism. A challenge for the cell, perhaps responding to an outside influence, is not a meaningless, isolated event. It is a necessary action for the preservation of the whole body. In the same way, your personal difficulties, as sharp as they may feel, often serve a function in the larger system of your community, your relationships, or your own long-term growth. A period of professional uncertainty might feel like a personal setback, but it could be the very pressure that encourages a necessary change of direction, ultimately aligning your path with a deeper purpose you could not see at the time. A moment of tension in a relationship, while uncomfortable, might clear the air of unspoken feelings, creating the space for a more honest and resilient connection to form. The friction you experience is often the universe's way of smoothing rough edges, not to trouble you, but to reveal a more harmonious shape beneath. So bring to mind one specific challenge you are navigating right now. Now, gently widen your gaze. Can you see this difficulty not as a random, difficult event, but as a necessary part of a larger, unfolding process? What might this situation be making space for, or what strength is it asking you to develop that will serve your wider life? When you view your life from this interconnected vantage point, every storm can be seen as part of the weather system that nourishes the entire forest. What if every obstacle was secretly a stepping stone placed for your benefit? This is the essence of the Stoic trust in Providence, the belief that a rational and benevolent intelligence guides the universe. From this perspective, every event, no matter how challenging, is woven into a larger pattern that ultimately serves the good of the whole. Even when we cannot see the reason, the Stoics argued for a fundamental trust in this cosmic order. It is the choice to believe that the universe is not chaotic or hostile, but a coherent system where our personal struggles contribute to a purpose beyond our immediate sight. Marcus Aurelius constantly returned to this idea to fortify his spirit, writing that whatever happens to you has been waiting to happen since the beginning of time. He saw the entire chain of events as linked and woven together, each one a necessary part of a beautiful whole. This is not a call to blind faith, but to a reasoned trust based on observing the interconnectedness of nature. Consider the words of Cleans in his hymn to Zeus, where he praises the divine reason that steers all things, asking to be led by this higher order and to willingly follow it. This is the attitude of cooperation with a universe that is fundamentally for us, not against us. History offers a powerful example in the life of the philosopher and statesman Seneca. He was asked to step away from public life for nearly a decade, a situation that could have dimmed his spirit. Instead, he trusted in Providence. He used those years of quiet reflection to write some of his most profound letters and essays, works that have guided millions through the centuries. What seemed like a difficult close to his political career was in fact the very circumstance that secured his lasting influence. That time away was not a random hardship, but a redirection of his path toward a different and perhaps greater purpose. His challenge became a fertile ground for wisdom that has outlasted the empire that once sent him away. Now, bring to mind a past difficulty you have personally moved through, a chapter you once believed was purely negative. With a gentle light of hindsight, can you look for the hidden benefit it carried? Perhaps a period of professional uncertainty pushed you to develop a new skill you now rely on every day. Maybe a personal transition, as challenging as it was, cleared the space for a more authentic version of your life to emerge. The closing of one path often guides us onto another we were meant to walk all along. This is not about denying the pain of the experience, but about discovering the quiet ways the universe was conspiring for your growth, shaping you through the very friction you wished to avoid. Your own internal narration can be the very thing that fuels your anxiety. The practice of objective description invites you to become a calm reporter of the events in your life, using the plain, neutral language of a scientist observing data. This technique systematically strips away the layers of exaggerated storytelling we so often add, returning you to the simple, observable facts of a situation. Marcus Aurelius regularly trained himself in this way, breaking down complex or emotionally charged things into their basic physical components. He would describe a luxurious meal as prepared fish and fowl, or a prestigious robe as the wool of a sheep with a bit of dye. He was not being cynical, he was practicing seeing things as they truly are, without the inflated value his judgments might assign. When you describe a stressful event using value-laden adjectives like terrible or disastrous, you are not reporting the event, you are reporting your reaction to it. The objective description separates the two. Take the common experience of a traffic delay. The subjective, emotionally charged narrative might sound like this. This is a nightmare. I am going to be terribly late. This completely ruins my entire morning. Now, translate that into the language of a field report. The cars on the highway are moving at an average speed of 5 miles per hour. My estimated arrival time has been delayed by approximately 20 minutes. The event is the same, but the second description holds no power to trigger a panic response. It is merely a set of circumstances to be noted and navigated. The practice creates a crucial space between you and the situation, allowing you to see it with clarity rather than through a lens of fear. Right now, bring to mind a current minor source of concern. Then try to craft a single sentence that describes it with the dry, factual precision of a journalist filing a short dispatch. Strip it of all emotional language, dramatic predictions, and judgmental labels. Just the who, what, when, and where of the situation, nothing more. This simple act of redescription is a profound exercise in reclaiming your mental ground from the stories that unsettle you. You can inoculate yourself against the unexpected turns of fortune. The Stoics developed a powerful exercise for this very purpose, a practice known as voluntary discomfort. It is the deliberate and periodic choice to welcome manageable challenges, not as a form of self-punishment, but as a training ground for the soul. By willingly stepping into small trials, you prove to yourself, in a tangible way, that you are capable of navigating difficulty and that your sense of well-being is not dependent on a constant stream of comforts. The philosopher Seneca was a strong advocate of this mental and emotional preparation. He would intentionally set aside a few days each month to live on the most basic food and wear his simplest clothing. He wrote that he did this to prove to himself that you need very little to live well, and that a person is never truly unfortunate if they have grown accustomed to the possibility of change. He was strengthening his inner resolve, ensuring that if a genuine hardship ever arrived, he would not be overwhelmed by it. He had already walked that path by choice. Think of this as a form of psychological immunity. Just as a small, controlled exposure teaches your body to build strength, a voluntary encounter with manageable challenges teaches your mind to build resilience. When you choose to take a walk in brisk weather instead of staying indoors, you are not just feeling the cool air, you are telling your subconscious that a little physical unease is manageable, that it will not break you. When you voluntarily skip a meal and sit with the sensation of hunger, you are demonstrating that this feeling, while noticeable, does not control your peace of mind. These small acts systematically dismantle the power that potential future stressors hold over your imagination. They transform the unknown into the familiar. This week, challenge yourself to choose one small, everyday comfort to voluntarily forego. It could be as simple as taking a slightly cooler shower, turning off the streaming service for an evening to sit in quiet reflection, or walking to the store instead of driving. As you do it, pay close attention to your internal reaction. Notice any initial resistance, and then observe the quiet strength that emerges when you realize you are perfectly okay. This is not about depriving yourself of joy, but about discovering a deeper, more durable kind of contentment that no external circumstance can easily take away. Your greatest sanctuary is not a place but a state of mind. This is the profound Stoic metaphor of the inner citadel, a fortress of reason and virtue that exists within your own consciousness. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively of this command center, a quiet space you can retreat to at any moment, a stronghold that cannot be breached by outside forces. Its walls are not made of stone, but of your own disciplined judgment. The only thing that can ever threaten its peace is a choice you make, the decision to open the gates from within through poor reasoning or unchecked emotion. When the outer world grows loud and chaotic, this inner refuge is where you can find instant clarity. It is not an escape from reality, but a deeper engagement with your own capacity for calm deliberation. Imagine the scenario of facing sharp public feedback, perhaps during a team meeting or in a public forum. The initial reaction is real, a flush of heat, a rush of defensive thoughts. The untrained mind might feel overwhelmed by the intensity, taking every word as a personal blow. But the person who has cultivated their inner citadel does something different. They feel the initial reaction, and then they consciously retreat inside. Behind the strong walls of their own reason, they can examine the feedback not as a personal wound, but as raw information. They can sort through it calmly. Is there a useful truth here I can learn from? Is this person's opinion within my control? Does this input, however poorly delivered, touch upon my core character or merely a temporary outcome? By withdrawing into this space, you are not ignoring the event. You are choosing the ground on which you will meet it. You are moving the experience from a vulnerable, open field into a fortified position of your own design. The feedback loses its power to disrupt because you have refused to let it define your inner world. So take a quiet moment now and visualize your own inner citadel. What virtues form its strongest, most unshakable walls? Is it your courage, your integrity, your sense of justice, or your enduring patience? Picture these qualities as the very architecture of your peace. This is the sanctuary that no external turmoil can ever take from you, a fortress you carry with you always. The obstacle in the path becomes the path itself. This is the deeper art of turning resistance into your very ground for progress. Amor Fati is not a passive state of mind. It is an active workshop where you take the raw, unyielding material of a setback and begin to craft something new. Every barrier you encounter presents a distinct invitation to practice a particular virtue you might otherwise leave undeveloped. Marcus Aurelius captured this active transformation in his journal with a line that has echoed through the centuries. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the alchemy of the Stoic mindset, where the very thing that seems to block your progress is revealed as the essential ingredient for it. Consider the story of an inventor facing a long string of prototypes that did not work as planned. Each dead end and malfunction could be judged as a frustrating waste of time and resources. But if they apply this lens, each outcome is not a stop sign. It is a specific lesson in persistence, a training in creative problem solving, and a rigorous test of their commitment to the vision. The final breakthrough is not achieved in spite of the obstacles, but directly because of the clarity and resilience each one demanded. The obstacle, the repeated attempt, literally became the path to the solution. On a more personal scale, think of a professional setback that invited you to reconsider your entire career direction. In the moment, it feels like a door closing. Yet, with time, you might see how that closed door guided you toward a path that was far more aligned with your true skills and values. The obstacle of one chapter ending became the path to finding a more authentic vocation. The hindrance was the catalyst, so bring to mind one current obstacle in your own life. It might be a difficult person, a financial constraint, or a personal limitation. Now, do not just accept its presence. Ask yourself this active question. What specific virtue is this situation inviting me to practice? Is it a call for patience, asking me to learn the strength of steady endurance? Is it a demand for courage, challenging me to speak a difficult truth or take a thoughtful risk? Or is it an opportunity for ingenuity, encouraging me to find a simpler, more elegant solution with the resources I already have? Name the virtue, and you transform the obstacle from a problem into a purpose. You are no longer facing a wall, you are being handed a tool for your own growth. Anxiety thrives on what might be, and regret clings to what has been, yet your power resides only in this single, fleeting moment. The present is not just a point in time, it is the only place where your life is actually happening, the sole domain where you can exercise any real influence. The Stoics understood that our minds are often anywhere but here, borrowing trouble from a future that may never arrive or reliving chapters we cannot edit. This mental time travel is the source of so much needless distress. Seneca captured this human tendency with heartbreaking clarity, observing that we are always anticipating our life, remembering our life, but we are strangely absent from the life we are living right now. We lose our days by worrying about tomorrow, and in doing so, we lose today as well. His insight reveals that a life spent anywhere but the present is a life missed entirely. The practice, then, is to continually return your attention to the task immediately at hand, breaking down the monumental weight of a large challenge into a series of small, present-moment actions. Consider a significant project at work, the kind that feels overwhelming just to think about. The anxiety comes from projecting your mind forward, trying to hold the entire finished product in your mind at once, along with every potential obstacle along the way. The Stoic approach is to gently pull your focus back from that distant horizon. Do not think about the final report, think only about writing the next paragraph. Do not worry about the entire presentation, focus solely on creating the next slide. By dealing only with what is right in front of you, you drain the future of its power to overwhelm you. The entire project becomes manageable because you are only ever facing one small piece of it at a time. This is how you build a bridge across a chasm, not by leaping, but by placing one stone at a time firmly in the present. Let us try a brief exercise together to anchor this feeling. For just the next minute, let everything else fade away. Bring your full attention to the simple sensation of your breath flowing in and out of your body. Notice the feeling of the air, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Now, widen your awareness to include 3 things you can physically feel right now. Perhaps the texture of your clothing, the solid support of the chair beneath you, the temperature of the air on your skin. There is nothing you need to change or solve in this minute. You are simply here, fully present, and in this space you will find a quiet refuge from both the storms of tomorrow and the echoes of yesterday. Each day offers a final, quiet classroom in its last moments. The Stoics practiced a deliberate evening review, a gentle audit of the day's events to sharpen the clarity of their lens for tomorrow. This is not a session for harsh self-judgment or regret, but a neutral space for honest assessment and continuous growth. It is the process of looking back over your actions and reactions to see where Stoic wisdom could have been applied with a little more skill. Seneca beautifully detailed his own version of this practice in his work on anger. He described how he would question his own spirit each night. "What habit have you improved today?" he would ask. "What challenge have you met with patience? In what way are you wiser?" His aim was self-knowledge, a calm inventory of his progress in living thoughtfully. To see how this works, picture a common day. Perhaps around midday, a colleague made a comment in a meeting that felt dismissive of your contribution. Your immediate internal reaction was a flash of heat, a tightening in your chest, a narrative of frustration beginning to form. The evening review is your chance to revisit that moment with calm curiosity. You look at the event itself, the comment that was made. You apply the dichotomy of control. The comment and the colleague's tone were outside your command. Your own judgment of the event, however, was entirely within your power. You see that your initial interpretation labeled the event as a personal slight. Then you gently explore an alternative. Could you have paused and chosen a different judgment, one that saw the comment as a simple difference of perspective rather than an attack? This is not about rewriting the past, but about training your mind for the next time a similar moment arises. The review makes you more agile in that critical space between event and reaction. Tonight, before you sleep, consider giving yourself just 2 minutes for this practice. Find a quiet moment and ask yourself 2 simple questions. What is one thing I did well today in how I managed my reactions or acted with intention? And what is one area where I could improve tomorrow, perhaps by applying a pause or choosing a more constructive judgment? This small, consistent audit is how you polish your understanding, turning each day's experiences into the raw material for a calmer and more resilient tomorrow. The most destructive emotion is anger. Seneca opens his profound exploration of the subject with this stark declaration, placing a mirror before one of our most common and volatile reactions. From the Stoic perspective, anger is not a justified response to an unfair world, but a temporary form of confusion rooted in a single, flawed judgment, the belief that an injustice has been committed against you. It is a passion that convinces you that your frustration is a tool for setting things right, when in reality it only clouds your reason and hands control of your actions to the very event that upset you. Seneca argues with relentless logic that anger is never useful, never rational. He observes that no other feeling has a more frantic look in its eyes, a more disruptive force. It is an enemy to our own peace long before it becomes a problem for anyone else. The Stoic Lens, therefore, does not seek to manage anger, but to dissolve it entirely by re-examining the initial impression that gave it life. The moment you feel that familiar heat rise, the practice is to pause and challenge the story you are telling yourself. Is it truly an injustice, or is it merely an event that did not align with your preferences? Did that person truly intend to wrong you, or are they simply acting from their own limited understanding, their own burdens, much like you do on your difficult days? This is not about excusing poor behavior, but about freeing yourself from the inner turmoil that such behavior can trigger. Consider the modern phenomenon of road frustration. Another driver changes lanes abruptly. The initial automatic judgment is immediate and visceral. That person wronged me. They are inconsiderate and dangerous. This judgment feels like an undeniable fact, and it fuels a surge of irritation. Your heart pounds, your grip tightens on the wheel, and a cascade of frustrated thoughts follows. Now apply the Stoic approach. Challenge that first impression. The event itself is neutral, a vehicle changed lanes. The judgment of injustice is your addition. What if that driver is not acting with ill will, but simply distracted, perhaps by a deep worry or a genuine emergency? What if they made a simple human error, the same kind you have undoubtedly made yourself behind the wheel? By shifting the judgment from a personal attack to a neutral or even understandable event, you drain the frustration of its fuel. The situation remains the same, but your internal storm begins to quiet, allowing you to return your focus to your own safe driving. Bring to mind the last time you felt a genuine flash of frustration. Look past the feeling itself and identify the specific judgment that was at its very root. What was the story you told yourself about what happened? Did you believe you were not heard, that your efforts were overlooked, that an agreement was misunderstood? See if you can gently hold that judgment up to the light. Is it the only possible interpretation of the event, or is there another, less personal story you could choose to believe? This act of re-examination is the practical tool that Stoicism offers, a way to reclaim your inner peace from the fleeting confusion of anger. Your reason is the emperor of your inner world. This is the core of Stoic sovereignty, the understanding that your capacity for logic and wisdom is the ultimate authority over your own mind. Just as an emperor governs a vast territory, your reason must preside over the restless provinces of emotion, desire, and fear. These are not enemies to be destroyed, but powerful forces that require the calm, lawful rule of your guiding intelligence to serve the common good of your inner peace. When a feeling like anxiety or frustration rises, it is like a regional governor demanding immediate action. The untrained mind hands over control, letting that single feeling dictate policy for the entire empire. The Stoic practice is to ensure every appeal is brought before the throne of reason for quiet deliberation. Epictetus placed this faculty at the very center of a good life. He taught that we must not blame others for our disturbances, but look to our own judgments, for it is our own reason that has the power to approve or dismiss any impression that enters our mind. He reminds us that it is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. Your reason, therefore, is the final court of appeals for every challenge you encounter. Consider a practical example in modern decision-making. You are offered a new job opportunity. The emotion-led process might sound like this. The title is impressive, and the salary is a significant increase. I am flattered they chose me. I feel excited and a little nervous about the change. This decision is driven primarily by the initial thrill and the lure of external validation. Now witness the same decision led by the sovereignty of reason. The emperor within asks a series of calm, logical questions. Does this role align with my core values and long-term purpose? What specific skills will I be able to develop and contribute? How does the daily reality of this work compare to my current situation, beyond the financial aspect? Is this move a logical step in the narrative of my growth, or simply a reactive leap toward a shiny object? The final choice may be the same, but the process is rooted in stability rather than fleeting feeling. The emotion-led path is vulnerable to the first setback, while the reason-led path provides a foundation that can withstand difficulty. For one upcoming decision in your own life, no matter how small, I challenge you to conduct a quiet experiment in sovereignty. Before you choose, set your immediate emotions gently to the side. Bring the matter before your inner emperor and make your choice based solely on the clear, calm light of reasoned logic. Observe the unique quality of clarity that emerges when your highest human attribute takes its rightful command. Expecting the world to be fair is a recipe for perpetual disappointment. This deeply ingrained belief that our efforts should always be met with just rewards, that good behavior will automatically lead to favorable outcomes, sets us up for a cycle of frustration. The Stoic response to this is not cynical but profoundly liberating. They propose that the cosmos operates on a vast, interconnected logic far beyond our personal concepts of justice. To demand that life conform to our individual sense of fairness is like a single leaf demanding that the entire tree grow only in the direction it prefers. Marcus Aurelius regularly challenged his own expectations, reminding himself that to be surprised by difficult or challenging behavior in the world is to be surprised that a fig tree bears figs. It is simply part of the nature of things. The Stoic shift, then, is to redirect your energy from demanding justice from the universe to enacting it through your own actions. Your sole concern becomes your own integrity. your own commitment to doing what is right, regardless of whether that virtue is recognized or reciprocated. This letting go of the demand for external fairness cuts a major source of resentment at its root. Think of a common workplace scenario where a colleague receives public praise for a project to which you contributed significantly. The initial, natural reaction is one of sharp unfairness. I did the work, so I deserve the recognition. This judgment creates immediate inner turmoil. The Stoic approach invites you to look at this differently. The actions of your colleague and your manager are outside your control, part of the unpredictable external world. What is within your power is the knowledge that you did the work with skill and dedication. The virtue was in the doing itself. The lack of external reward does not diminish the value of your own honorable effort. By focusing on that internal truth, you reclaim your peace. The event remains the same, but your attachment to a specific, fair outcome is released, freeing you from the frustration that would otherwise linger. Bring to mind one situation in your own life that feels distinctly unbalanced, where you believe you deserved a different result. Now, gently practice this release. Acknowledge the desire for fairness, and then consciously choose to let go of the demand that reality should have been different. Instead, place your entire focus on the part you can own. Did you act with integrity in that situation? Can you take pride in your own conduct, independent of the outcome? This is not about approving of the imbalance, but about choosing where to invest your emotional energy, securing your own inner ground against the shifting winds of external circumstance. Stoicism offers a compass, not an anesthetic, for navigating the profound waters of transition. The philosophy never asks you to deny the natural ache of sadness when someone or something you cherish is no longer present. Instead, it provides a framework to walk through that experience without being consumed by it, honoring the cycle of nature that gives all things a beginning and an end. The Stoic aim is to feel your feelings fully, yet to gently resist the pull into a prolonged grief that would distance you from living your own life well, the very life that was a gift to share with what you have lost. In his letter known as the Consolation to Marcia, Seneca addresses a mother who has been mourning her son for years. He writes not to criticize her love, but to counsel her heart. He suggests that while tears are a natural and human tribute, we must eventually allow reason to guide us back toward a life of purpose. He reminds Marcia that her son would not have wished for her own light to be extinguished in her remembrance of him. The goal is a measured and constructive response, where grief transforms from a state of being into a process of integration, a way to carry the love forward through your own actions. Think of a towering, ancient tree in a forest. For years it provided shade and shelter, a home to countless creatures. When it finally falls, the empty space in the canopy feels stark and wrong. The immediate absence is undeniable, yet the Stoic perspective invites you to also see what happens next. The sunlight, now reaching the forest floor, nourishes a new generation of seedlings. The decaying trunk itself becomes a rich habitat for other forms of life. The tree is gone in its original form, but its legacy continues to feed the entire ecosystem. This is not a replacement for the tree, but a different chapter in its ongoing story. In your own life, this might translate to focusing on the profound gratitude for the years you shared with a loved one, rather than fixating exclusively on the current silence. It is about allowing their memory to inspire your own capacity for kindness, or their values to strengthen your own resolve to live virtuously. This week, find a quiet moment to take out a piece of paper. Think of a person or a situation you feel the absence of deeply, and write down 3 specific things you are genuinely grateful for about that relationship or experience. It could be a lesson they taught you, a particular laugh you shared, or simply the comfort of their presence during a difficult time. This act does not erase the sense of change, but it consciously shifts the weight of your attention from what is missing to the enduring gift of what was given. Apatheia is a state of clear-sighted calm, the undisturbed flow of reason that the Stoics saw as our highest good. This ancient goal is often mistaken for a modern apathy, a cold and unfeeling detachment from the world. But the Stoic pursuit is the very opposite. It is not about numbing yourself to life, but about freeing yourself from the turbulent, irrational passions that disrupt your peace and cloud your judgment. The distinction lies in the space between a first flicker of feeling and the story we tell ourselves about it. The Stoics, like Chrysippus, carefully studied this process, identifying passions as unhelpful states of mind rooted in mistaken beliefs. They understood that an initial, involuntary reaction is not the problem. They called this a proto-passion, a quick, physical jolt that is entirely natural. Your heart might skip a beat at a sudden loud noise. You might feel a flush of heat when receiving criticism. This is not a failure of apatheia. It is simply the body's raw data entering the system. The important moment comes next when your faculty of judgment is presented with that initial impression. This is where a passion is born, when you accept a distorted interpretation and allow that first flicker to become a sustained storm. The goal of apatheia is to catch yourself in that moment of acceptance. Imagine walking alone at night and hearing a sharp sound close by. The immediate, involuntary startle, the quickening of your pulse, that is the proto-passion. It happens in an instant before you can even think, but then the mind races to interpret. If you accept the judgment that this is a serious threat, that you are in immediate danger, that initial concern rapidly spirals into full-blown worry. Your breathing becomes shallow, your thoughts race with unsettling possibilities, and your entire system is filled with tension. This sustained reaction is the passion. The person cultivating apatheia experiences the same initial startle, the same quickened pulse, but in the space that follows, they apply their reason. They pause to examine the impression. They might look around, see a branch that has fallen, or a cat moving in the shadows. They gently dismiss the exaggerated story and return to a state of calm assessment. The initial concern subsides because it was not fed by a mistaken judgment. The next time you feel a surge of a strong, difficult emotion, like frustration or unease, take a mental step back just for a moment. Observe its quality. Was it a quick, sharp flicker that came and went, or did it build into a prolonged storm that colored your next several minutes or hours? Simply noticing this difference is the first practical step toward cultivating your own clear-sighted calm. We are born for cooperation, like hands and feet. This line from Marcus Aurelius reminds us that Stoic clarity is not a tool for retreating from the world, but for engaging with it more skillfully and compassionately. The very act of interpreting a stressor through a measured lens often reveals our deep interconnectedness. It shows that our calmest response is rarely just for our own benefit, but is a contribution to the collective peace. This understanding is rooted in the Stoic concept of oikeiosis, a process of social connection where we gradually learn to see other people not as separate competitors, but as extensions of our wider self, part of the same human community. Your tranquility is not a private possession, it is a social good. When you remain steady, you become a point of stability for everyone around you. Consider the challenge of interacting with a consistently difficult person. The untrained reaction might be to meet their frustration with your own, creating a cycle of tension that ripples outward. The Stoic Lens reframes this entire encounter. This person is no longer merely an obstacle to your peace, They become a test of your commitment to the social whole. Their behavior is outside your control, but your response of patience, your attempt to listen and understand, is a direct service to the common welfare. It is an active practice of justice and fellowship. You are not required to agree with them, but you are called to treat them as a rational being who, like you, is navigating their own challenges. This week, look for one simple opportunity to perform a small, unannounced act of kindness for someone. It does not need to be grand. It could be a genuine compliment, holding a door open with full presence, or listening to a colleague without glancing at your screen. As you do it, consciously view this not as an extra task, but as a natural fulfillment of your own human nature. You are acting as a hand helps a foot, recognizing that the well-being of the whole body depends on the cooperation of every part. A tree does not grow in a day, and neither does a virtuous character. This long view is the very essence of Stoic patience, a quiet understanding that the fruits of our efforts often ripen on a timeline we cannot rush. In a world that prizes instant results, this philosophy calls for a different kind of strength, the persistence to trust in the gradual, compounding effect of daily practice on your resilience and clarity. You are not building a shelter in a single afternoon. You are laying the foundation for an inner citadel that will stand for a lifetime, one thoughtful stone at a time. Seneca wrote extensively about this in his letters, emphasizing that daily study is not about dramatic breakthroughs but about steady accumulation. He observed that the mind must be given time, that little by little it must gather strength through a continuous, gentle application of wisdom. This is not a race, it is a form of cultivation. Think about the process of learning a complex new skill, like playing a musical instrument or mastering a language. The initial phase is often filled with challenge, with clumsy fingers and unfamiliar phrases. You might feel a strong urge to step away, convinced you lack a natural talent. But if you persist, showing up for just a little practice each day, something remarkable happens. The difficulty begins to lessen, not because the challenge has disappeared, but because your capacity has grown. Your fingers find their place more easily, the words begin to flow. The mastery you sought arrives not in a single moment, but as the sum of countless small, patient efforts. The Stoic path operates on this same principle. The frustration you feel when you lose your temper or fall into a cycle of worry is not a sign of failure. It is part of the process, a necessary friction that sharpens your understanding. Each time you pause to apply the dichotomy of control, each moment you choose a calm description over a dramatic story, you are not solving everything at once. You are simply practicing, and with that consistent practice, your inner resilience quietly deepens, your mental clarity becomes more reliable, just as the musician's skill grows with each day's scales. Where in your own life are you feeling the sharp sting of impatience right now? Is it in a personal goal, a relationship, or your own progress in managing difficult emotions? Identify that one area and for a moment consciously reframe your expectation. Release the demand for an immediate solution or a perfect outcome. Instead, commit to the value of gradual, steady progress. What is one small, patient action you can take today that aligns with the person you are slowly, surely becoming? The true source of our strength is not in rearranging the world, but in refining how we see it. Throughout this journey, we have explored a simple yet profound shift, learning to turn our gaze inward. We began by drawing that essential line between what is ours to command and what is not, the cornerstone of the dichotomy of control. We then practiced the art of Amor Fati, learning to embrace our path and see every obstacle not as a disruption, but as a necessary part of our story. We discovered the quiet power of objective description, learning to set aside the dramatic stories we tell ourselves and return to the simple, observable facts of a situation. Each of these practices points toward the same fundamental truth. Our peace is built not on a foundation of perfect circumstances, but on the quality of our own judgments. The external event is just the raw material. Your interpretation is the craft that shapes it into either a weight or a tool for growth. This is the ultimate freedom that Stoicism offers. It is a freedom that cannot be taken from you because it exists entirely within your own mind. The philosopher Epictetus, who understood the depths of personal experience, left us with a guiding light. He said, "Freedom is secured not by the fulfillment of one's desires, but by the removal of desire. This is the liberation of wanting only what you already have the power to achieve, your own virtuous action, your own clear judgment, your own calm response." You now carry a lens through which to view the pressures of your life. This lens does not make the challenges disappear, but it reveals their true nature, not as threats to your peace, but as invitations to practice it. Every difficult moment, from the minor irritation to the significant life change, is now a classroom for your character. It is a chance to apply these principles and watch as your own resilience quietly deepens. Your capacity for growth is already within you, waiting only for your conscious choice to engage it. If these ideas have resonated with you, if you feel a spark of recognition for this more measured way of being, we invite you to join us for more conversations like this one. Subscribe to the channel for ongoing practical wisdom, and we would be honored to hear from you. What is one situation where you have begun to apply this Stoic lens? Share your experience in the comments below, for in sharing our journeys, we help light the path for